Lookbook in InDesign. File, New, Document. Click on Print. Click on View All Presets. Choose A4. Name it Lookbook. Your initials. And we're generally working in portrait. You can do landscape. You can make it A5. Normally A5 landscape is a nice way to make it as well, but just for this exercise we'll do it in portrait A4. Number of pages, 8. So you have to do multiples of 4. So the next one up is 12. Start page number 1. Columns 1, or you can make it 2 columns. I find 2 columns a bit distracting because these are just guides. You're not stuck with them. But anyway, I'm just going to leave mine at 1. You can use rulers if you want to line things up. The margins are generally quite good at 12.7 mil. Bleed, it should be 3. So 3 mil for bleed. Bleed is when the photographic image goes beyond or goes to the edge of the page. You need to go 3 millimeters beyond that. So when the cutting process happens for production of professional offset printing lookbooks, that you don't get left with a little bit of a white edge. When you first open up InDesign, you might need to reset your pages. So Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials Classic, and that's the one we want because we have our panels that we need up here on the right, and that should be all set. So the first thing we're going to do is decide on our layout. So we need to click on Pages, and up here above the page layout, up here where it says None and A Master, we want to set up the A Master. And what this is the heading or the footer and the page number. So double click on A Master on the right hand side so that it's selected. Then you need your type tool, and you just click and drag out a little type box up here. So this will be quite small typing. You're going to write the name of your range, and you could say spring, summer, or autumn, winter, UTUMN/winter 2020, and we're just going to change our font. So this is where we find our font. Come up to type, go to font, you have to wait for it to load, and I'm just going to use this one. With the page header and page number, you either want to use a block font, so a thicker kind of font, bold, in grey, or you can use a fine font in black, just so it doesn't stand out too much. And if you click on your type tool, that brings up everything on the control bar up the top here. If you go to 10 points, that's plenty, that's quite big. You don't want to go any bigger than that. And just check that it's lined up with that corner there. And also down the bottom, we're going to make a box for our page number. So it's only a teeny weeny little box. And we're not going to type anything in that. Now we're going to copy this over to the other side. So we've got our header and our page number. We're coming over to the other side of the document, clicking the left-hand side of A Master. I think it'll go on there anyway, but no harm in doing that. Command copy, command paste. So we're moving this over. Make sure your type box lines up with the edge of your margin here. Select both of these things, click on your type tool, click on up here on the control bar the final icon a line away from spine. So it's the second row, last icon. Our page number hasn't gone over, so we're just going to move that over physically. And on this side, we're going to type lookbook number 9, or whatever you like. Okay. So that's ready. Now we're going to set up our page numbers. So what we do is get our type tool. We click inside that box we made for our page number. We come up to type, come down to insert special character, come down to markers, come across to current page number. And what happens is you end up with an A in that box. That's fine. That's the way it's meant to look. Okay, so that's done. Command 0. Now what we're going to do is make a B master, and the B, so this is for white pages where you have dark colour lettering. You often have photographs that are on dark colour backgrounds, so we're just going to make a B master. So come up to the pages panel, click on the list and choose new master. Make another master. It'll be called B master, and this will be for information on dark coloured backgrounds. So we're just going to click and select all that information we had on A master. Command copy. Come to your pages panel, click on the list, go new master. This will be called master B. It's always called next letter. Go OK. Command paste. Zoom in, just check it's all lined up where it should be. Use your keypad arrows if you just need to tweak a little bit. That seems to be right. Yeah. Okay. While it's all selected, don't deselect it. Swatches, choose paper, so it's white. Or you can choose another colour that's light, but at the moment we'll just leave it like that. Come to your layers, open up your layers panel, double click on it. Double click on the layer name and call that master, M-A-S-T-E-R. Okay. This layer will be for our images we're going to use for our lookbook layout design. So we double click that and call it layout, reference. Okay. And we'll just do a few things on our pages. We'll put none on our first page on our layout. So come up to where the master page is and grab none, drag it to A1 or page 1, and also drag it to page 8. So we don't need a page number on those pages or any other information. The back page is for your contact details. So we really only want the 3 pages in between as our A master or B master with our page number and our headers. Okay, so now double click on page number 1 to open it up. We've finished with our master pages now, so we'll just click on page 1, zoom in, Z. So what we're going to do now is set up our images. So we need to make, they're called frames, and the frames are to, what we're going to do now is set up our layout. So we should open up our layout file. So find that. Layout. And so that'll look something like this. Find your front cover, drag it onto the layout, click. Okay, so if you're on a Mac, select it, hold down Shift and Command and drag a corner toggle to scale both the frame and the image. So ideally, I think we do want it to go right to the edge. And here, well, I want that one to go right to the edge. You can move it around just by selecting it. Okay, so that's one. Set up the rest of your pages. You don't need to select the page. You just bring in the layout. Shift Command. If you're on Windows, just Shift. Layout images place. This will be my trade sketch page. So they're all in there. Go to your layers panel, lock that layer, make a new layer, and this will be for your photos. Okay. The other layer you might need is the layer for your swatches and trades. We might do the swatches and trades first, just so we have those colours ready in Photoshop for us. So open up your, get your black selection tool, select all of the colours that you've made. Command copy, come back to your InDesign document, swatches and trades, Command paste, Command V. While they're selected, just click on your swatches panel, go click on the list, new colour group, because they're selected, it knows what you mean. Go OK, and now they are added to your colour swatches. You can delete the colours that you've brought in off the page, off the InDesign document. Okay, so they're ready for when you're ready for them. The trade sketch, what I'm going to do is actually add a picture. Lock our swatches and trades. It's always a good idea just to lock a layer if you're not using it. That way you can't accidentally put things on a layer that you don't want to use. So photos, what we're doing is using our frame tool, or press F on the keypad, and so something like where there's a photo, we're dragging out a box down to the bleed in my case, because the image goes beyond, goes to the page edge. And also I'll be using a font that is outlined, because it was an imported font for my range name, and that'll be going here. I might like to copy this line that they've used on the layout, so I can actually do that now. If you want a straight line, hold down Shift, click, click. This would be where I would go to my swatches. I might have to reset my workspace again. There we go, layers, swatches. So I want this line to be this colour. So that's done. I think in my stroke panel it should be, I'll make it 1. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's page 1 done. So you go through the document and you make boxes for your images. So with something like this, that would be a text box, so we're actually going to make a text layer for that. I mean, you can do that while you're working now, so we can go to our layers, new layer, and call this layer type. Okay. And so anything that's typed, you can make a text box just using the type tool, something like that. If you want to make a shape like this, then that's the rectangle tool. So use the rectangle tool. You can use the eyedropper tool to maybe copy that line created on the first page, or just go to your swatches and probably go to the swatches and choose that colour again. Come back down. In the stroke panel, I'm just going to make mine 1mm. Okay, so this area of text, this will be something you've written about the range. It can be from a Word document or any Illustrator, and so that will have about the range, the fabrics used, that sort of thing. And then the image, that may be a whole page of an image, but maybe it's only that high. But you can change these boxes, they're not limited to how they are in the first place. This page will be a complete edge to edge fill, so I'm just going to make a box going edge to edge. So when you do make a box, what you're doing is getting your frame tool, clicking from top right corner down to bottom left. Sorry, top left down to bottom right. Let go. This one. So what we have is a image box. Then you get your shape tool to make a shape box. And I'm still on the same colour, which is good. And you can always, if it's just in stroke, you can flip it to colour later. You don't really want a stroke colour. Going back to my frame tool, because this is a photo. And I just realised I'm probably on the wrong layer. Yeah, I'm on the type layer. So if that happens, you can select these boxes and Command X, come back to your photos, Command Paste. Move them into place. Okay, and then make sure you click back on your type layer for something like this. And we can probably make top boxes for this later, but or if you want to make them straight away. So it's more about the scale of the type that you're trying to copy with something like this. This will be the logo, which is the outline drawing basically. So I'm just click and drag that one. And then something like this on the back page, you've got a few different elements. You've got your image, keep that within the border or the margins. Then you've got a shape box, so that's this one. Then you've got typing. Oh, done it again, haven't I? on the type layer. So there's my point. What you should do is make all the boxes for all the images first, then make your type layer and come through and do all the type boxes. So this won't have descriptions. It will probably have, if you need to delete something, select it, delete. It will have my range name again. Then it will probably have my contact details, email, contact details, LinkedIn, contact details, phone numbers, an address, and I don't know, something else. So I'll just leave that there for later. I'll work out my typing, Command 0. So that's all set up, ready to go. Lock the type, unlock the photos. So now we're going to place our photos. I will be making a Photoshop video just to talk about photos, because what you need to do before you add your photos is scale them to fit. You can do things like with something like this, to work with if you want to know the size of something, is we have the properties panel. If you can't see it, it's normally over here on the right. If you can't see it, go to Window, Properties, and in there if you select one of your frame boxes, it will tell you how big it is. So it could be an idea to list all the sizes. So for instance I go 106, maybe I'll stick with millimetres, 106 by 170. Okay. So I would go through and actually find all these box sizes, especially, I forgot I haven't done this one. So this one is a mixture of, it's got a shape behind everything. So I'll just make that shape. Then I will make a frame for my label name. And I will make frames for all of these images. And so a page like this is quite good because you get a few different images together on one page. We have got either the align tool, or you can use just the guides to get everything lined up. So the guides are very good in InDesign. So yeah, that. Normally it'll snap when you're online with something. So this one and this one, hold down Shift. We can come up to Object, Layout, Align, and that brings up this panel. I'm just going to line those two on the bottom. Hold down Shift to select more than one, line them up, left side, right side, and they all look pretty right on the bottom, lined up. Okay, so that's done. And a type box. One for the name, although we don't need a type box, we can just type the name. Might even find that I come back and change some of these things. So it's all editable, don't worry that, you know, it's set in stone, it isn't. So, okay, so we've got to place an image, you select you unlock and select the layer, select this, photos in a folder, opening that, finding the photo I'm using, this one, double click on the image, get bigger, object, fitting, select the image by clicking on this circle, hold down shift, drag a corner toggle, and so that's made it bigger, bigger. So there we go, just as long as you hold down shift, it shouldn't scale disproportionately, although it does look a bit funny. Oh no. Come up to object, fitting, fit frame to content, fit content to frame. There you go. Click on the frame, file, place, on my image, object, fitting, fit content to frame. Okay. This one, object, well, this one I'm going to select. I want to change the size of the image. You can see the border going around the image. That tells me how big it is. I actually want the whole thing to fit. And so into there, fit it to here. So what I've found with this one is that my image isn't big enough to go to that edge. So in Photoshop, I'm going to have to make it a bit bigger using the crop tool, so the canvas size is made bigger, and then I'll just select that area in there and use content aware, and it will just copy this wall, the angle of the piece of wood here, and extend the photo. So that's what I mean by using Photoshop. But often you won't know what needs fixing until you actually place it in the document. So I'll show you that later. With the layout of your trade sketches, you want to select the frame, which I made in the type layer, file, place. So I was going to use my actual image, but I've decided to actually use a photo instead. So this is the photo. I'll select the photo, hold down shift and drag, because I actually want it quite big. But what I will be doing is making it bigger in Photoshop, cropping it in Photoshop, so that only the bit that I want, which is this area here, will be cropped. And then I'm going to place my trade sketches on top of that. So I'll show you how to do that. Open your Illustrator file. What I've done is I've got different layers. I don't want this background anymore. I've changed my mind. The swatches, I do want that swatch, but I'm going to pop it in later. I don't want any of those swatches. I want my name, I want my label, and I want Autumn Winter 21 here. So what I really want out of this layout is just these images, because if you copy everything straight over, you won't be able to edit it. So I want the type. I'll just select that and go Command Copy, come back to InDesign, Command Paste. Now you'll get this saying it has to turn the image into an EPS. Just go OK. It will look pixelated like this, don't worry. It will, when you print it, it'll look fine. So you can work out your layout, make sure it doesn't get sort of stapled over. Okay, so you might want it a bit bigger, but just remember that it looks right on this size, but this is an A3 sheet, and the other layout I did was on an A3 sheet. So if I go back to the scale it was, I think that's fine. So something like that, I'm just going to move it, and you can see it's not editable, so it has to be right. Things like my label name, I can now copy that. Command copy, come back to this file, command paste. And so you only need to paste that once. You can use that on all the different pages. All you need to do is scale it by holding down shift and pushing in the toggle. Autumn winter 21, I'll just click and drag. So you can click and drag or command copy paste. Okay, so there's my information. My swatch I could bring in separately. So if you bring them in separately, you'll be able to move them around separately. Yeah. If you bring them all in at once, then you won't. It's non-editable. Make sure your image goes right to the bleed edge. If just saying, you're cropping off part of the image that you want, you will need to, in Photoshop, extend the image. But normally you can get away without doing that. Okay, so that's the idea with your trades. If you want to look at this without all the guides and everything, you can click on the last icon over in the tools, right click and choose preview. And that'll show you what it looks like without the other stuff in there. You can something like this. I'll turn that into black. Go to my swatches, choose black, and make sure it's in the fill, not the stroke. Make sure there's no stroke, /. And if I want to hide my layout layer, I just click on the eye. Oh yeah, I haven't done all that stuff, have I? So you can sort of see what you're up to so far, might be a few things. So you've still got all your guides in there, ready to be filled. So that's the idea. Then what we'll do next is go to Photoshop and look at how we're going to change our image sizes. But I will tell you this just now, because right at the end, after you put in all your photos, you're happy with everything, you need to go to your links, and what it will show you is all the different links that you've got in there. So this image, it's not embedded. I need to click on the list and choose embed. So if the computer can find your links, it will embed them. You don't need to, actually I don't want to embed that one. Unembed, yes. For your layout, you don't need to embed those images because we're going to dump that layout when we're finished anyway. You only need your images that are part of the layout. Something like this, embed. So anything that is a photo or you can bring in, say, save your trade page as a trade layout as a PDF and bring that in as a PDF. Just place it on the page, but you would need to embed it because a PDF is a bit like a photo. Okay, so check everything's embedded. Check any font that is from imported font is outlined. Check all your layouts and everything. It's always a good idea to zoom in and check that things are lined up. And when that's all done, you've saved the file. So the easiest way to print this file is to go to Officeworks with it, but it will have to be a pretty PDF file. So you have to go, you save the InDesign file, then you export the file as Adobe PDF print, and that's in here. Save. So in here you've got all sorts of things like general, compression, marks and bleeds. That was all set up at the beginning. Language, English, UK. Alright, save preset. There are things like security, so you can encrypt your files so that people can't alter them. Save preset and export. Click export. And so this will save the files of PDF. This is the one that you give to Officeworks because they don't have InDesign. Sometimes they do, but a lot of them don't. And also if you're printing on yourself, you will need to print it as a PDF file, not an InDesign file. Option is File, Print Booklet. And in here, you've got the choice of 2-up saddle stitch. So this is like a magazine where it's actually printed on an A3 paper and then it's stapled in the middle. So A3 2-up saddle stitch, print settings. So in here, this will be, you'll have to make sure the size is A3. There you go, so paper size, A3. Okay, oh. A3, A3, there we go. And it won't be portrait, it'll be landscape. Okay, so again, you've got all these different settings, everything should be okay. And then just click OK, and you can print from there. If you want to print it like that at Officeworks, you can just ask for saddle stitch. So look at the back page or page number 5 of the notes, and that will tell you how to print your booklet. The other thing is your paper weight should be heavier than photocopy paper. I've written in all the different weights of paper. So normal paper is about 80 GSM. For a lookbook, you want to go at about 120 for your internal pages. And if you're doing a professional lookbook, you use a heavier paper for your cover, which is normally about 310 GSM, so a lot heavier. But for us, just ask for, Officeworks will show you the paper. They've got gloss, they've got textured, all sorts of things, but ask for something around 180, 120 GSM weight. Normally get an acetate cover with either a spiral bind. The heat binds don't last very long, but we've only got really 2 pages that we're sort of heat, or, you know, if we look at them as being printed on both sides, we've got, yeah, 2 pages. So yeah, get it bound, or you can print it yourself on cartridge paper and stitch it down the middle. So that's where you do the printer settings of saddle stitch, and the program works it out for you, so you don't have to worry about which page is going to print. It'll print them around the right way. So good luck. I hope you go well with making a lookbook. I'm looking forward to seeing them, and I'll make a Photoshop video.